Alrighty everybody, welcome back to Culz Book Reviews and the first of 3 special Halloween season 2025 episodes. This first one is going to be about Penpal, which I'm sure you guys have guessed by either thumbnail, title, or what's on the screen right now. This one started out as a creepypasta and allegedly was only chapter 1. Footsteps is all that the author Dathan had imagined for the story, but because of positive reception kept going with it, which glad he did, because it was a pretty fantastic read. So before I get too far into my thoughts and just forget everything I'm supposed to do in a review, let's check out the cover. Alright, so up top you see the title Penpal, which is stylized, and you can see there's some like drawings, or I guess what could look like a map or police report, like it's been taken out of a manila folder. And then you see the main image, which is like a creepy image of a forest, kind of foggy, with a kid kind of wandering into the mist, which it definitely gives those spooky vibes, right? Below we see a novel by Dathan Auerbach. I do apologize if I butchered it. I've not heard anyone say your name, Dathan, so my apologies there. On the left side we see the author's name again. We see the title Penpal, and then 1,000 vultures. On the back we see a little bit about the book itself, as well as a little bit more of that image, though this one is a little less in focus, kind of tying in with the memories are kind of hazy, right? Right below we see 1,000 vultures. You can see that facebook.com/1000vultures, and then the ISBN if you need it. Alright, so in order to not spoil anything, I had to zoom in. But the book itself clocks in at 238 pages, and it is going to be just words outside of one little police report that comes at the very back. I'm not going to show too much in case of spoilers. One thing too, I just like the font, the design of the font, as well as the chapters are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of nice. So it is broken up. Like I said, the first one, Footsteps, was apparently the only story he had planned on writing, but again, due to positive reception, I guess, added on to the story to make this full book now. So yeah, for something that was posted over a decade ago on No Sleep, first off, it's super cool that it is now a book, something you can put on your shelf if you really enjoyed the story. I do I don't know, something with how the signs are designed. It's just kind of rounded. It's really kind of nice. But yeah, I'm really excited to have the physical copy. And if you guys have only read the creepypasta, or if you guys want to call it just the story online, the book does differ. There are parts in here that maybe were added to flesh it out, make it a little bit more longer, just more book length. But also some that maybe just corrected some of the things, or added little details here and there. I know one that was added was at one point in the hospital, there's a fellow person in the room. If you guys have ever been to a hospital, sometimes patients share rooms. They put up a little divider. Well, in one, he's not wearing any bandages. In this one, his face is completely wrapped in bandages, which makes me think, was that supposed to be the stalker? Now, without getting too much into spoilers, because I actually really want you guys to go read this. Maybe at some point we'll do a breakdown of Penpal, or I'll recommend this for the Society of Main Characters, have everyone read it, because I really did enjoy it. But the story itself follows one person, our protagonist, who has some really kind of strange occurrences popping up. Starts out in the beginning with footsteps, but then progresses backwards, because it's told in little sections at different memories, and as you're going, you see things pop up from the first story or the story before, or pop up later, and you're like, oh, that just popped up. I caught myself multiple times being oh no, that's what that is. One of which, pretty early on, I guess not a super huge spoiler, is a shark float pops up later, and I don't know why, but that one just got me. I was oh. And I like the formatting of it, kind of just being snippets or just loose memories tied together, where, yes, loosely, you probably wouldn't think too much about them, but tied together, you're oh, here's the whole story. And it's never really 100% told out to you. there's a lot that your brain's just going to grapple with, and you have to put the story together and fill in the blanks, which I think with any good story, we've talked about it with like Jaws before, makes it better. We just recently did World War Z, and that's another one where they don't, specifically tell you everything. They kind of just maybe tell you little bits and pieces, and your brain fills it in. And that's what makes horror movies, I think, scarier, is when it's not just told to the audience, when the brain makes it up, because it's always going to be worse in the brain. I will have to credit Dathan here, because for not originally being this full book, to be able to tie it all together, and I guess Footsteps at first seems very loosely connected to the rest of it, because in the rest of it you come in and you can better like flesh out the story, or just tighten up some of the details that you originally had planned out. But I think he did a fantastic job just incorporating, doing callbacks, and just, again, like I said, making you think, oh, like Ninja Turtles, why is that important? Oh, maps, what's so important there? It does come back up at one point. And I think a lot of times the horror tropes that you're kind of thinking are going to happen doesn't happen, and that helps with the overall story. Like I said, I don't want to get too far into this and just ruin what the story's about. So to kind of briefly summarize it, again, I think that's where I started before I got off on this tangent, is it's about the main character, lots of creepy stuff's going on, and how everything slowly comes together, and he really doesn't find out how it comes together till he's much older. But the story does have a conclusion, and it maybe is going to leave you guys a little, well, I'm not going to say there, I don't want to spoil it. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already read this. Like I said, it was online a long time ago. This one was published in 2012, but this was good enough that I've already picked up Dathan's other book, which is Bad Man, I believe. So it should be here soon. Eventually I will cover it, and you guys will see a review of that, because I have really, really enjoyed this one. I will give this a solid 9 out of 10. Super good. It's not a hard read, but I think for being not a hard read, it really does make the mind think, and there's so many outcomes and timelines, and so at some point I will come back to it and do a timeline of Penpal, or how not quite like Penpal explained, but hey, maybe we can interview Dathan, have him on, and talk more about it. But like I said, it's super good, 9.0 out of 10. I found this one mainly because I had stumbled onto Creepcast and listened to Stolen Tongues, and they kept talking about Penpal, so I was like, oh, it's a book, I will go pick it up. Perfect time is Halloween season. This one is more of a, I will say, psychological thriller, more than like a straight up like horror film. It's definitely not a slasher, but it's creepy, and I've seen a lot of people say it's one of the creepiest stories they've read. So I think you are in for just feeling unnerved, uneasy while reading this. I've just been super jumpy all over the place for this review, so I apologize. But yeah, going back to Creepcast, they did do a reading of it. I actually didn't listen to that one till post reading the book, but when I re-listened to it, there was a lot of details that maybe I originally glossed over, didn't really make the connection, but on the second read, knowing where the story was going, I was like, oh, that's even creepier. There's like a lot of subtle things that just make it creepy, and I think the decision to have the narrator as a small child adds to the creepiness, because again, when you were a kid, you didn't think all the bad things about the world that you do now. You weren't as afraid, maybe of like the dark and like monsters and stuff like that, but not in certain situations that definitely as an adult you would have been. So as an adult reading this one, you're like, oh, that's not a good situation. And the author flipping back and forth from present to then also, narrates that. I will say at times I was like, the kids feel a little too young for how they're talking, but the story's so good, I was able to get over it. So just a slight little nag there. Like I said, I will give this a 9. Like, it is a solid read. I really enjoyed it, and it made me go buy the other book from this author, so I think right there, that's got to say I super enjoyed it. And the storytelling, even though it's not like linear and it's just memories here and there, not a huge bother. I think people, even if you don't like movies like Memento or something like that, you'll be fine here. So definitely go pick it up. 9 out of 10, solid read, great start to the Halloween season. But if you want more Culz book reviews, click that link to your left. Like I said, be doing 2 more of these for Halloween season 2025. On the right, it's going to be more from us here at Culz Paranormal. I believe it will be Mermaids, the Body Found, which is a very infamous documentary, so of course we had to cover it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And let us know, have you read Penpal? What did you think? And is there a kind of creepy story we should read? Because I want to get into more of these. I had a blast. Tell me in the comment below. What was that?